That was bad. That was bad. What's going on, Raptors Nation? Luca here, back with a post-game reaction. We are going to talk about that mess of a game that the Toronto Raptors just played in. No Giannis for the Bucks. No Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby for the Raptors. Dennis Schroeder did go in this one. He was dealing with some knee soreness, but despite not having Giannis, the Bucks did not miss a beat. They blow out the Raptors 128 to 112. And just when you thought the Raptors couldn't have a worse first half than the one that they had against the Wizards, they managed to pull it off. I mean, this was just unbearable to watch in that first half and really throughout the game. The Raptors' half court offense has been terrible. And I think I saw something on X. Somebody posted it, but the Raptors' half court offense is as bad as the trust the process Sixers. Like, this is some pretty bad half court offense we're witnessing right now. And the Raptors, once again, got off to a terrible start. Bucks outscoring the Raptors in that first quarter, 36 to 21. They got the early lead, carried a big 20-plus point lead into the locker room. And then everybody thought, okay, this is when the Raptors are going to pull off a signature comeback. Well, the Raptors' comeback magic officially came to an end. No comeback for the Raptors. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're an actual good basketball team, even without Giannis. And they weren't going to pull a San Antonio Spurs or Washington Wizards in this spot. As the Milwaukee Bucks, they shot at 51% from the field to the Raptors 39%. They shot it 20 of 39 from three. Good enough for 51%. The Raptors, 9 of 33 from three. Again, the Raptors couldn't hit a three, and that includes Pascal Siakam. We'll get to him in just a minute here. Raptors actually rebounded the Bucks. The assists, Raptors were +3. Total turnovers, Raptors had one more turnover. Points in the paint, Raptors actually dominated the Bucks, 52 to 34. But the Bucks' largest lead, 33. Raptors only led by 6. That was really early in the first quarter. And then the Bucks quickly evaporated it. But I mean, anytime you hit 23s and allow 23s and you're only able to hit 9, you're not going to win that basketball game. And that's what happened here. As you look at the Bucks, 4, 5, 6 players finished in double figures. Chris Middleton, who got 20 minutes, that's kind of been his threshold this season. He had 11. Lopez had 10. Damian Lillard, he went off just 3 points shy of a 40 piece. He had 37 points. Beasley, I don't know how the hell Beasley had 30, but it was thanks in large part to his 8 of 11 shooting from three. Yes, so that means, guys, that Beasley had almost as many made three-pointers than the entire Raptors team. Beasley had 8, Raptors had 9, and of course, that is just unacceptable. As you look at Portis, he had 18 from off the bench. Payne had 13. And then you look at the Raptors, no real bright spots other than Scotty Barnes. And that's kind of been the theme this season, that Scotty Barnes has been the constant. And I mean, this Raptors team has looked very, very bad without OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby showing his value in the 2 games that he has not played. The Raptors defense has been non-existent. And OG Anunoby, such a big loss. Gary Trent Jr., obviously a loss from off the bench, but still inexcusable effort by the Raptors. I mean, you would say that's a trade-off. You don't have OG, you don't have Gary Trent Jr., but the Bucks don't have Giannis. Literally, the Bucks were missing their best player. They were missing a superstar, a top 5 player in the NBA. So even if the Raptors were down 2 guys, no excuses that they put up this type of performance, type of effort. As Scotty Barnes, lone bright spot, like I said, 29 points, 7 assists, 9 rebounds, 3 of 3 from 3, 11 of 19 from the field, and nobody else's team came to play. Jakob Poeltl, who was benched for most of the second half, obviously Darko making a statement. He did not start Jakob to begin the second half. He was 6 of 10. Dennis Schroeder, 2 of 9 from the field. He had 9 points. Grady Dick started in place of what I thought was going to be, Otto Porter Jr., obviously, OG not going. All arrows were pointing to Otto Porter Jr., but Dick did get the start. He struggled mightily from the field, 2 of 10, 1 of 6 from 3 at 11 points. Boucher had 9, McDaniels had 7. Precious led all bench scorers with 11. And then we saw Noel get some minutes in garbage time. Malachi Flynn, he played 27 minutes. He only had 7 points. He was 3 of 11 from the field, 0 of 8 from 3. I mean, Malachi cannot hit a damn 3. And then you look at Pascal Siakam, saving them for last, continues to miss all of his threes. I think he's 1 for his last 21 or 22. Like, it's getting very bad that Siakam can't hit a three. Siakam, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 of 9 from the field. And I mean, Pascal Siakam's become pretty predictable. And, it's one of those things that, not many people are going to say, but it's the obvious truth that, Siakam, yeah, he can look like a star and put up big numbers against teams like the Wizards, but then he'll come back and have a performance like this against a good team. And we've seen it time and time again. Siakam will star against bad teams or mediocre teams, and then he will be essentially a non-factor, look like a role player against good to great teams. I mean, tell me how that makes sense that Siakam, who had 39 points, 20 plus shot attempts, only had 9 shot attempts in this game. And you can't just pin it on Darko, who's obviously trying to figure things out as we go along here. But, he's got to be aggressive like he was aggressive against the Wizards and force the issue a bit. And Pascal Siakam has had an inconsistent season where he has a great game and then he has this type of disappearing act. And we saw it a couple of times against the Sixers, another good to great basketball team. So it's been a rough go for the Raptors. When you look at this team play basketball, guys, through 11 games, there's a lot of flaws. There's a lot of growing pains. And I would suggest that through 11 games, the Raptors look closer to the inevitable rebuild around Scotty Barnes than they do being a legit playoff team. Because remember, 2 of these wins were epic comebacks against teams even worse than the Raptors, Spurs and Wizards. And the Raptors just continue to get off to these poor starts. This was the, I think, 6th straight game in which they trailed after the first quarter. The scoring droughts are there. The half-court offense has been dreadful. The three-point shooting has been not good at all. We've seen this common theme where, if Siakam stars, Scotty takes the back seat. If Scotty stars, Siakam's a non-factor. But, Scotty, I give him a lot of credit because he has consistently brought it. Even if he hasn't shot this ball particularly well in some of those contests, he still was able to impact the game in other ways. So this is a Raptors team that is trending towards the direction that I ultimately said this team should take from last season's trade deadline, and that is finally commit to this rebuild around Scotty Barnes, because there is just so many kinks that need to be worked out. And look, I'm not going to undervalue the importance of Anunoby. Do I think the Raptors win this game with Anunoby? Probably not, but, Anunoby, I think it's safe to say, makes this team a much better basketball team. And, it's night and day, some of the numbers that we've seen in terms of their offensive rating, defensive rating. But still, even beyond that, there's some issues that continue to linger with the Raptors. So this was just a disappointing effort, going back to this game. You would have thought the Raptors would at least bring some fight in this. Again, like I said, obviously, like if Giannis was playing, Raptors without 2 key players, you cut him a bit more slack if this type of game happened. But Giannis didn't play. And the Raptors still had Scotty Barnes and Siakam. So, to come up with this type of effort, type of performance, just look dead in the water against a Bucks defense that has not looked good to this point. I mean, that just shows you how bad this Raptors offense has been as a whole. And look, the Raptors, they're 5-6, but you're starting to see some glaring issues when they go up against teams that are at that next level. Raptors can beat up on the Wizards of the world, the Pistons of the world, who they're going to see on Sunday, the Spurs of the world. But the measuring stick, and what was going to be a curious thing to see, is how would they match up against bona fide contenders, teams that are in that next tier. Because obviously this Raptors team ran it back thinking, hey, maybe we could be a part of this playoff mix. But, to put up the type of efforts that they have been, I know they had that nice game against the Bucks early in the season, but the Bucks were still new, trying to figure things out. This just solidifies that, through what the Raptors have shown us so far, and they have the Celtics on Friday. We'll see how they look in that, which will be the first in-season game. The Raptors still have a long way to go, and this is a team that, they got a lot of issues that need to be corrected, and just the roster, whether that's roster changes or, guys stepping up, that remains to be seen. But I mean, this offense has been, this half court offense in particular has been pretty bad, like historically bad, like just dating back to like some of the bad teams that we watched over the years. And in a game like this, when you are missing your best defender, you can't stop anybody. It's just going to make for a rough night. And that's exactly what happened. So Raptors lose this game. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all. And the Raptors tried to rely on their comeback magic in the fourth, but the Bucks weren't having anything of it. Middleton and company hit some big shots when it looked like the Raptors were maybe knocking on the door, down 15. They cut it to 15 at one point, I think 13. But yeah, the Bucks weren't having any of it as they held on to the convincing win. But Raptors fans, how are you feeling after that? Let me know, Raptors Nation. Hit a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't new. That is it for me. This is Lucas signing off.